Oh, I feel very scared.
Do beasts lurk amongst the workshops where beauty was once made?
Hello, I'm Yvette Fielding, and this week I've brought Most Haunted to a town called Longton and the Gladstone Potteries, which has seen great tragedy in its history.
This particular part of Stoke-on-Trent certainly played its part in maintaining the pottery's production lines. But 3 decades after it became a museum, is this a place haunted by its past? Way back in the 1770s, this area boasted one of the region's most productive sites, made possible by the rich clay and coal deposits that lay close at hand. But did this part of Staffordshire become a victim of its own success? Considerable growth was tempered by a Clean Air Act that forced these coal-fuelled ovens to burn for one last time in 1960. Yet the lifelike figures and moving furniture, as well as the mysterious footsteps and cold spots that staff and visitors are forever witnessing, suggest some members of this factory's past continue to ply their trade today.
With so much paranormal activity, we decided to start our investigation early. So last night, Kath and Amanda were completely alone and in the dark, and this is what happened.
Hello? Oh no!
Is it coming from that door? Okay, I've actually no idea what that was.
Hello? Is there any... Oh, no. Are there any spirits that used to work here?
What's that?
What?
Oh my God, Kath, I've got something on my camera. Is that your camera? Point your camera in another direction. No, it's definitely not your camera.
What was that again? Hello?
Can you see?
Can you come closer?
Oh my God! There's me. I'm not scared. I'm not scared at all.
With the exception of a few areas, just about every room at Gladstone Pottery has had some haunting tale attached to it. The yard sees ghostly workers in Victorian clothes going around their daily chores. Black phantoms are witnessed with alarming regularity throughout the site, and mischievous poltergeists are said to have made their home here.
One summer evening I was working here about 7 o'clock in the evening in the boardroom, and the stairs, as you know, are very creaky and very noisy, and you couldn't possibly walk up them without making a noise. And I heard this very clumpy footsteps coming up the stairs. I went to investigate, and there was no one there.
We are now in what is referred to as the Doctor's House. Although the original Doctor's House was built just a few hundred yards away, this one has its fair share of ghostly happenings. Doors fly open on their own, motion sensors are triggered when there's no one here. But the most scariest thing about this house are the nameless men and women who wander in the dead of night.
One of the things I've been very interested in, why should a place like this be so haunted? And I've really tried very hard to work it out. I didn't think it was a place of death. We're not talking of of machinery where people could have been trapped or crushed to death or anything like that. But since coming here and talking to people, I've realised, of course, that one of the most dangerous places was the kilns. Some of them would collapse on people, and of course also people could be burnt to death inside the kilns. So, to a certain extent, it has been a place of death.
These rooms are arguably the most haunted part of the Potteries. Poltergeist activity is rife in this area. Many people hear footsteps. They also feel as though they're being watched. And these jars are supposed to move all on their own.
One of our female staff in the past has seen a gentleman dressed as a saga maker, and sagas are the items you can see over to my right there, coming down these stairs, and we don't employ saga makers anymore as it's dying art now, and they've all gone basically.
But it's here in the 1910 office that more disturbances occur. A ghostly figure of a man with grey hair, side whiskers and a grey coat has often been seen by staff and visitors alike. Also, many staff complain of being attacked by flying objects. They're so scared that some of the staff members totally refuse to enter this building on their own.
I'm not totally sceptical, because I do believe there is things here that are unexplained. More of the staff around the site have seen visual things. I've only heard noises, but that doesn't mean to say that there isn't anything here.
So, now well aware of what to expect, it was time to introduce our guest for the day and night, and someone who is no stranger to paranormal investigations. As someone who works closely with our regular parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe, paranormal investigator Steve Parsons has been invited to give his analysis and scientific expertise to help this investigation.
What do you think of the Gladstone Potteries as a place to be in investigation?
For a paranormal investigator, it's a veritable sweet shop. I can't think of another location where so many diverse types of activity have been reported.
Now, Amanda and Kath stayed here last night. They actually caught a light anomaly on camera. What do you think to it?
I can't explain that. It's certainly very unusual.
Now, what's your take on hauntings? You know, many people have different theories. There's stone tape theory. There's all sorts. What's your take?
There's an interesting idea that may be worth looking at in relation to this building. Archaeologists have known for a long time that ceramics, when fired to very high temperature, retain an element, a memory, if you like, of the time they were fired, the magnetic fields that were around them and other environmental information. And they use that to look back at the past. Perhaps when pots are fired or the kilns themselves are heated up to very high temperature, they also maybe retain some information from the last time they were fired.
See, I've never even thought about that. That is something that's, you know, really going to make us all think. Now, any particular time that you think hauntings are more current, like we're saying after 5 o'clock here, but we've also heard between the hours of 2 and 4 in the morning, that's when most things are active. Are there any particular times for you?
I would go with between 2 and 4 because at that time of the day, our own body rhythms make us more susceptible to having unusual experiences. For example, heart attacks are more likely during that period of time, and the way our brain works changes between the hours of 2 and 4 in the morning. So it may be that I would expect that to have some effect tonight.
And you don't get scared at all, do you?
No.
Steve also had an experiment up his sleeve that he would monitor during tonight's investigation. An idea in which he would flood a specific room with energy. It's been scientifically